Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear devotees. Welcome to our Shri Shri Radha Kalashanji Dham Mangala Arti, or excuse me, morning program. I did forget kartals before I sat down, and I'm very lazy. Oh, thank you, Mataji. Today we're reading from Canto 7, Chapter 2. We've got some verses towards the end. Thank you, Mataji. Very interesting subject today. And before that, we will sing Gora Arti. Just kidding. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Haribo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Kalasanji Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Shamasundar Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Sri Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva. Oh, excuse me. Let's start with this one. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devyam sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer the respectful obeisances unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Naste prayasa breshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamastloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance on the classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyan Jamarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto them. So today we're reading from Canto 7, Chapter 2, and I believe it's verses start around 40. We will start at 41, and we'll go to 49, and then we will focus on text 48. And we have a topic today of material nature, how to view material nature. If somebody could start with reading the translations at 41, please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Don't be shy. Do we have a... Yes, please.
Every conditioned soul receives a different type of body according to his work. When the engagement is finished, the body is finished. Although the spirit soul is situated in subtle and gross material bodies in different forms of life, he is not bound by them, for he is always understood to be completely different from the manifested body.
Who's speaking? Yamaraj, right? And Hiranyakashipu is talking about Yamaraj talking, right? 42, please.
Just as a householder, although different from the identity of his house, thinks his house to be identical with him, so the conditioned soul, due to ignorance, accepts the body to be himself. Although the body is actually different from the soul, the body is obtained through a combination of portions of earth, water, and fire. And when the earth, water, and fire are transformed in the course of time, the body is vanquished. The soul has nothing to do with this creation and dissolution of the body.
43. As fire, although situated in wood, is perceived to be different from the wood, as air, although situated within the mouth and nostrils, is perceived to be separate, and as the sky, although all-pervading, never mixes with anything, so the living entity, although now encaged within the material body, of which it is the source, is separated from it.
Yamaraj continued, O lamenters, you are all fools. The person named Suyagya, for whom you lament, is still lying before you and has not gone anywhere. Then what is the cause for your lamentation? Previously he heard you and replied to you, but now, not finding him, you are lamenting. This is contradictory behavior, for you have never actually seen the person within the body whom heard you and replied. There is no need for your lamentation, for the body you have always seen is lying there.
In the body, the most important substance is the life air, but that also is neither the listener nor the speaker. Beyond even the life air, the soul also can do nothing, for the supersoul is actually the director in cooperation with the individual soul. The supersoul conducting the activities of the body is different from the body and living force.
The five material elements, the 10 senses, and the mind combine to form the various parts of the gross and subtle bodies. The living entity comes in contact with his material bodies, whether high or low, and later gives them up by his personal prowess. His strength can be perceived in a living entity's personal power to possess different types of bodies.
As long as the spirit, soul, is covered by the subtle body, constituting of the mind, intelligence, and false ego, he is bound to the results of his fruitive activities. Because of this covering, the spiritual soul is connected with the material energy and must accordingly suffer material conditions and reversals continually, life after life. We have one more, please. Or two more, excuse me.
It is fruitless to see and talk of the material modes of nature and their resultant so-called happiness and distress, as if they were factual. When the mind wanders during the day, a man begins to think himself extremely important, or when he dreams at nights and sees a beautiful woman enjoying with him, these are merely false dreams. Similarly, the happiness and distress caused by the material senses should be understood to be meaningless.
49. Those who have full knowledge of self-realization, who know very well that the spirit soul is eternal, whereas the body is perishable, are not overwhelmed by lamentation. But persons who lack knowledge of self-realization certainly lament. Therefore, it is difficult to educate a person in illusion.
Hare Krishna. Okay, 48, please. Vitya tya binivishoyam. Vitya tya binivishoyam. Yangenesh artadrig vachaha. Yangenesh artadrig vachaha. Yatya manoratya svapna. Yata manoratya svapna. Sarvamandriya kamrisya. Sarvamandriya kamrisya. Vityatya binayavshoyam. Yadgisvata drigvachaha. Yatya manoratya svapna. Sarvamandriya kamrisya. Please, Bolo. Okay, we're going to go right to the translation and purport, please. I just looked at the clock and said, whoa, 15 minutes? Holy moly. Time flies when you're having fun. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is fruitless to see and talk of the material modes of nature and the resultant so-called happiness and distress, as if they were factual. When the mind wanders during the day and a man begins to think himself extremely important, or when he has dreams at night and sees a beautiful woman enjoying with him, these are merely false dreams. Similarly, the happiness and distress caused by the material senses should be understood to be meaningless. Purport. The happiness and distress derived from the activities of the material senses are not actually happiness and distress. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita speaks of happiness that it is transcendental to the material conceptions of life. Shuksham atyanikam yatad buddhi grahyam andidriyam. When our senses are purified of material contamination, they become antidriya, transcendental senses. And when the transcendental senses are engaged in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikesha, one can derive real transcendental pleasure. Whatever distress or happiness we manufacture by mental concoction through the subtle mind has no reality, but is simply a mental concoction. One should therefore not imagine so-called happiness through mental concoction. Rather, the best course is to engage the mind in the service of the Lord, Rishikesha, and thus feel real blissful life. This is a Vedic statement. Apyam somam amritya abhyuma apsarobir vihararam. With reference to such conception, one wants to go to the heavenly planets to enjoy with the young girls there and drink soma rasa. Such imaginary pleasure, however, has no value, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:23. Ativat tu phalam tesham tad bhavyati alpa madasyam. Men with small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Even if, by fruit of activity or worship of the demigods, one is elevated to the higher planetary system for sense enjoyment, this situation is condemned in Bhagavad Gita as antyavat, perishable. The happiness one enjoys in this way is like the pleasure of embracing a young woman in a dream. For some time it may be pleasing, but actually the basic principle is false. The mental concoctions of happiness and distress in this material world are compared to dreams because of their falseness. All thoughts of obtaining happiness by using the material senses have a false background and therefore have no meaning. So, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that's our tradition, right, of the ISKCON organization. We understand that this material world is real. It's not real. It's not that I'm just imagining something and it will go away and it has no value. But we realize it in the right perception. The perception that it is not the ultimate reality. For instance, a big thing coming up is VR, right? Virtual reality. And people get these headsets, the Oculus, and they put it on, and for a moment in time, they immerse themselves in a whole different world. Are they really playing a game? I'm asking you guys, are they really playing a game? Yes. But is it the reality that when they take off the goggles, are they still in the game? No. Once you take the goggles off, you're no longer in the game and real life starts. So as devotees, we're trying to get to the point where we take our VR goggles off and get to the real life. So, this material world can have a great value when used in the service of the Lord. But we have to see it in the right perception. For instance, there's a movie, and they have that little board, they clip it. And the actor, when they hear that snap, they're in the movie. They are that character. They're acting with 100% immersion to give the best experience for the watcher. Matter of fact, if you talk to actors, and they are the best, from what I understand, actors. They feel the feelings of the character. They think like the character would think. They are totally immersed in what that perception of that person is feeling, thinking, and willing. Snap, cut. The scene's over. Now, if that actor was to continue to start talking to people like they were that actor, what would we say about that person? Yeah, you're crazy. I'm playing a crazy person in this. Matter of fact, sometimes actors have a little trouble with this because they come so immersed that when they're shooting a movie that they have a tough time coming in and out of what is the perception of the character, and they're, very immersive actors. And so we're kind of like in that situation. We're like actors in this material world, and we get immersed so much into the play, the movie, that sometimes we can forget what the movie is for, what the play is about, what's the real substance, who's the watcher that we really want to see enjoy this movie. We start thinking about ourselves as the enjoyer of the movie, the scene, instead of remembering that actually we are just actors acting for the pleasure of Krishna. So, as devotees, you go to the doctor's, Dr. Chaitanya just left. Dr. Chaitanya goes to the, I will no longer use them just so that I can be fair, but let's just say the doctor goes to the office, action, and the doctor thinks, I am a doctor. And should they, while they're being doctors, say, you know what, I'm not really a doctor, and therefore I'm not really interested in my position as a doctor, and really I'm not so interested in my patient? Do you think that would be very good? Oh, right? Their life of this person is in their hands. So devotees can also become very immersed in their duty. But they don't lose sight of the perception of why they're playing. So this is called Krishna consciousness. We chant Hare Krishna so that we can always remember who is the person that we're doing our best to try to enjoy the movie. Sometimes as devotees, our humility says, why would Krishna be interested in my movie? But that's the amazing thing, is Krishna is interested. As long as you're doing it for him. When we start doing it for our own pleasure, he kind of goes, that's not such a good movie. You know? Krishna's, yes. So, as devotees, we must mature to the state where we're no longer engaging in voidism or impersonalism. We start to engage in the material world for the right purpose. At first, when we're in the immature state, it's very tough because we don't know how to use it properly. And so therefore, we have Guru, Shastra, and Sangha. We always have Guru, Shastra, and Sangha. But at first, we really need to that help of the mentor, the Guru, the Shiksha Guru, or the Diksha Guru, or the Guru, to help us to see things in the right state and help us to get the right perception, because we can go in and out so quickly. But we're meant to mature in a state that we actually embrace the things that we're being given, because they're our greatest benefit. Wow. The Lord has given me this to use it for his service. It can be a little tough, because sometimes our perception can be that everything is flowers and honey and rainbows, you know, because we think that's happiness, right? But all kinds of things are happening in this world. Even in the spiritual world, all kinds of things are happening, right? I'll give you an instance in my life that recently happened. I won't get so detailed because anyways. But there was something that was very hurtful to me. I saw something and I was very hurt. It really hit at my core. At a core, I have interests in certain things that are very important to me. And so when I saw this, it hit my core, and I thought, wow, anyways, I became hurt. And in a state of hurt, or, we have a tendency for material nature to hit us, right? The fog of war, stuff hits the fan, fight or flight. And all of a sudden the material contamination starts to reel, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I have a tendency to start thinking about who is my enemies. This person's enemy, this person, it's their fault, it's that fault. Oh, as a matter of fact, it's my fault, I'm an idiot. Boom. You start, bewilderment starts to, maybe you do it in a different way, but this bewilderment of seeing things and wanting to point at this and, figure this out. Take a breath and decided that it would be best to chant Hare Krishna because I would like to see things at least in the right perspective, right? So I chanted Hare Krishna, and within not too long, I turned to Radha Kalashanji, and I said, Kalashanji, I'm hurt. I feel very hurt when I saw this. And I know, though, that you are my shelter, that you're very kind, and therefore you would do nothing to hurt me. You would do nothing that isn't for my best benefit, let's say. And so I know that this is for my best benefit also. But I am hurt. And I want to tell you that. However, I don't want you to change the situation because I'm hurt. Because I know that the situation is right. And right when I got to that point, all the hurt within my heart just disappeared. My heart, actually, I could feel my heart go soft. And all of a sudden, all those things that I saw as my enemy, I saw as my greatest benefit. Oh, this is helping me. This is actually my best situation. And so therefore, those people that I thought were hurting me, I could actually get to a point in my heart where I can sincerely say, thank you. Wow, these people are wonderful. This person is wonderful. These people are wonderful. And please, Radha Kalashanji, you please help them in their service because they have service to do. And so this thing that seemed like coal, like dark, chalky, nasty coal that you hold on, and when you drop it, your hands are all dirty, became a diamond, you could say. It became a great thing. It became a best benefit. And so my encouragement is that we don't spiritually bypass. We don't stick our head in the sand because we're afraid of the hurt or even afraid of the pleasure that Krishna brings us. That we somehow in some way, in your unique way, you also get to gratitude or talk to Krishna or bring it to Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna is absolute. If we, some way or shape or form, chant Hare Krishna, connect it to Krishna, then it will be for our best benefit to go back home. As devotees, our goal is to 100% serve the Lord and go back home. That is our destination. So we walk this material world with that focus that I am going to serve Krishna, that I am going back home, and then things happen. And because we're focused on the ultimate goal, then we can accept or reject things that are for that. Oh, this thing comes because we don't want to get overly sensitive in that everything needs to be something that I need to process. Oh my gosh, I need to process this. That can be overwhelming. Although, as desiring to be the Lord, we want to control everything, right? But if we keep the perception that our ultimate goal is, then Krishna helps us to filter out the things that are, just let this go. This isn't a big deal. This is actually a distraction. So we don't even need to label it as a distraction. We don't need to condemn it or nothing like that. We just simply let it go and say, hey, I'm going this way. But then also with that perception that our ultimate goal is to please the Lord, when there's something that comes in our preview that's for his benefit, we can see it. So our filter becomes what is good for our Krishna consciousness and what is not good for our Krishna consciousness. So, I'll open it up for questions. Please, any questions, comments, thoughts, any situations that you've been in where at first material nature hits you and maybe you're bewildered, but you also are fortunate enough by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, our gurus and Krishna, have been able to connect it with Krishna and get a nice realization on it. Please, what do you guys think? What do you devotees have to say? Please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, since the microphone is next to me, I can get started. In the purport of the verse, it says, one should therefore not imagine so-called happiness through mental concoction. Rather, the best course is to engage the mind in the service of the Lord Rishikesh and thus feel real blissful life. I mean, I am trying, and then that bliss is, every once in a while, and then a lot of just what do you call it, drudgery?
A lot of what?
Little bliss here and there, and then there's a lot of just going through the motions of life and dealing with the stuff of the body and the mind.
This material world's really tough, isn't it? We're really suffering. It's nasty. At least, yeah. The thing that we should really take shelter of is that everything is being done for us. And because this world is so nasty, it's sometimes hard to accept that. However, our greatest gift is a good shake. A big shake. This isn't for you. At least that's how I feel sometimes. Krishna's kind of giving me a slap. This isn't the place for you. So, if we can get to the place where we see as Krishna is my shelter, and let me take shelter of him, become completely dependent on him, then you know how we'll feel? We'll still feel pain. Because the truth is that we're not there, But at least we use that pain for a proper reason. This stinks. I'm doing the best I can, and yet I still can't remain Krishna conscious. My boss at my work is yelling at me. The person that I'm driving by, I didn't mean to cut off, but they're flipping me off. So I'm sorry, Prabhu. It's really tough. But we need a shaking. And so if we stay in the association of devotees and we remain chanting Hare Krishna, then it's not guaranteed that we'll not feel further away from Krishna. But if we feel further away from Krishna, then that's feeling for Krishna, and that is good. Sometimes we might feel closer to Krishna. And that's good also, right? But sometimes we need to, so here, the gopis, they feel separation of Krishna, and therefore it makes them want to see Krishna more. So similarly, we don't want to compare ourselves to the gopis, but the truth of the matter is that when we taste Krishna consciousness, it gives us a wonderful feeling. And then we go back into our situation and it roughs us up and it gives us more desire to get there, right? So this is our greatest benefit. This is such a great benefit that we feel at times. I don't feel anything, but you still remain chanting Hare Krishna, right? Because you have faith in your guru, you have faith in Srila Prabhupada, and you have faith that you've had enough taste to know that this is where it's at. Okay, I trip, I fall, and sometimes I don't taste it, but we're taking little steps. So my encouragement would be, if I may, is to every once in a while try to look at yourself the last 5 years and see, last 2 years, am I making small steps towards Krishna? Happiness is a progression towards our goal, right? And sometimes in the micro, we can't see it, but if every once in a while we breathe and say, okay, wait, am I making progress? Am I taking steps? Oh, okay, wow. My guru is so merciful. My friends are so merciful. Krishna is so merciful. Then we can be like, okay, keep marching. What do you think, Mataji?
No, I needed the encouragement. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Rajabhuru. Thank
Hare
you.
Bol.
Yeah, I was just, this last week I was teaching a unit of Bhaktivedanta course for VIHE, and it was on the 8th canto, Pastime of Gajendra. So one point that kind of struck me as I was teaching that section is how Gajendra and the crocodile, they're in the river there, and they're both causing each other so much suffering. You know, the crocodile's got a death grip on his leg's hurting and bleeding, and the elephant also, he's sometimes pulling the crocodile out of the water, sometimes getting pulled back in. I'm sure he's giving that crocodile a few swift kicks. So they're fighting for 1,000 years. 1,000 years, they're just stuck like that together, giving each other a lot of pain. But then what's the result of their relationship? They both get a personal darshan of Lord Vishnu, and they both go back home, back to Godhead. So I was thinking that sometimes, our relationships can involve a lot of suffering, especially, in Grihastha ashram. And sometimes husband and wife can sometimes cause each other a lot of difficulty. But if we look at it, it's like it's purifying us, it's qualifying us, it's making us take shelter of Krishna more. And at the end of the day, even though we might have caused each other a lot of pain here and there, of course not all pain, but it happens when you live all the time with someone. You cause each other some discomfort, some hurt. But at the end of the day, that relationship enabled you to go back home, back to Godhead, because you kept Krishna in the center despite all your differences. You kept doing your sadhana. You kept serving your devotee community, your household deities. And, you did your best to raise Krishna conscious children. And, it was great. And it's almost like the suffering made it great, without that suffering, you wouldn't have gone through the process, the cleansing and the purification and the calling out to Krishna and the shelter and the praying, and it wouldn't have happened, if it was all just rainbows and honey and flowers.
The goal is more important than the process. What I mean by that is that the results that we're getting towards moving toward Krishna is the process, the way we feel during it. It's like, no big deal. I feel a little bit of Krishna, I understand that can be a little bit of a, sometimes we talk about the result or the process is the most important thing. Yes, but when we're looking at it to see, what's my situation? We say, oh wow, I am progressing. Wow. So all of those things that I went through, like, no big deal, especially when we taste the progress. I was thinking that the tough thing is that we've taken shelter of material nature so much that it's really hard to be vulnerable, right? We be vulnerable, and material nature takes advantage of us. And so at first, we can be very hesitant to become vulnerable. Krishna, am I making progress? Even that question is very vulnerable, right? I'm willing for you to tell me no. Oh my gosh, if Krishna tells you no, you're not making progress? Ouch! Okay, Krishna's not like that. Even asking Krishna, but the vulnerability that we have to to reveal our heart to Krishna, the devotees, in confidence, it can be tough, but there can be so much in it that allows us growth. And one of the most important things is that when we are vulnerable towards Krishna, we can start to see things in a better perspective, a proper perspective. As devotees, we want to see things as they are, not how bad our mind wants it to be or how good our senses want to think that this thing is. We really want to see things as they are. And so by chanting Hare Krishna, we're given the opportunity to really see it in a better perspective. So, as Prabhupada Priya Prabhu was saying, that we go through these situations and thought, oh man, I really suffered. But through the different eyes of perception of how it's helping me in my Krishna consciousness, it becomes something different. Our story changes. Anything else? Any other comments, questions, thoughts?
Thank you, Prabhu. It was a wonderful class. And the point that you mentioned about, no matter what, we should be focused on the goal, right? And goal is more important than the process itself. And I was just thinking about this, like, especially in India, in an Indian situation. If I have to go to Mayapur, for example, that's my goal. And
country, so the weather forecast varies significantly.
and
You
most
must
of the
have said something
times,
that sounded like, hey, Google. That's funny. Sorry.
and if you're traveling by a train, and if you're on a train, there are so many inconveniences that one has to go through. You got to think of eating, and you got to think of attending to the nature's call, and it's so inconvenient. It's a long journey. You have to keep sitting, right? So all those inconveniences and troubles, we need to just hang out there. I was just thinking, all we need to do is, we don't have to jump off the train. Like Prabhupada said on the vessel, right? You may not get along with someone, just find another corner, but don't jump off this vessel. So I was thinking, the ISKCON is like a train or a vehicle, and all we need to do is just sit in this vehicle, and while being on the plane or any vehicle or the train, just follow the norms and protocols and the rules and regulations mentioned therein. Just do not do anything nasty there, which can, put you in trouble. That's it. That's all we need to do, and rest everything that vehicle will do the job. We'll attain the destination.
Thank you, Prabhu. Stay on the train. I got to go to Vrindavan for my first time, not this December, but the December before, and I was at Radhakund. And I apologize if this is, anyways, a little bit out there, but so I was chanting, and I had this epiphany that I literally had, this is the goal of life, to the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Literally, I'm like, there's nothing left to do. In a sense of like, sometimes our mind likes to preserve, like we have goal, we have to hit this marker. And my thing is like, this is the goal of life, is like to do some service by chanting Hare Krishna next to Radhakund. And I thought, wow, how comforting, how merciful of Radharani that I no longer have to, all I get to do now is serve. Just serve, and don't make any devotees upset. That's the only thing that can knock me off. Like, literally, like, the goal is guaranteed. Just don't, there's only one thing that really can knock me off of that goal, is to offend a devotee. I'm not saying I do it 100% and stuff, but every once in a while that, I remember that, like, hey, Nana Braja, just serve. You're taken care of. Krishna has you taken care of. Just don't hurt any devotees. Be nice to them, serve them, And this is like ISKCON, right? It's this train. By entering Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON, we really hit Radhakund. We've made it. We're done. Just serve nicely. Whatever position you can find within ISKCON, try to do it nicely with love, right? That's what Krishna really likes. That's the nectar that he wants. And let's not hurt each other, And yes, we'll make mistakes and stuff like that. But as long as we have the perception that we're willing to make amends and apologize and really want to serve, then usually we can be okay, Usually we can get through those things. Dear devotees, please, a mother bears a child for 9 months. They go through excruciating pain that no man can even comprehend. Then they get to take care of a child for so many months, changing a diaper of things that we won't mention in the temple room. And they do it with no problem. In one sense, it's tough. But what drives them to do all these things that are almost insanity is love. They love their child so much that they don't see the diaper. They don't see the pain of carrying. So therefore, please, let's be like mothers who love Krishna so much, and the pains we go through are just simply the things that we just do because they're part of that love that we do for Krishna. And they won't be that, they'll, they won't be something that distracts us from our caring. Okay, I'll end there. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Antikoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.